Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and we've got a lot to talk about this week with iPhone 16 Pro colors and camera updates, as well as a folding MacBook and also the Apple event invites for the iPhone 16 event. This is your weekly Apple News update for the week of August 18th through the 23rd, 2024. Now, the Apple event invites that leaked this past week looked like they were real at first, but many people said initially it's fake. I thought it was fake right away. It doesn't look just right. And the date may be accurate as far as September 10th, but the overall look of it and everything else just didn't seem right. And then later, the actual person that created it said that they leaked it just to sort of create something like that. So I just wanted to clarify that this was not real. However, I would expect those invites to go out probably at the end of next week. That's typically when we see that every year, so we could see those in about a week or so and then know more details about it. Apple announced this week that in a future update later this year that the screen for selecting default apps will be updated in the EU. This again is to comply with new laws, and there will be a new section for selecting those default apps for phone calls, messaging, password managers, keyboards, and call spam filters. They've also said that in spring 2025, Apple will actually add similar support for navigation apps and translation. They've also said that later this year in the EU, you'll be able to delete more apps as well, such as the App Store, Messages, Cameras, Photos, and Safari apps will all be deletable for users in the EU. Only Settings and the Phone app will not be able to be deleted, but you could use other apps as well. So those make sense not to be able to be deleted, but that's something that's actually going to change probably by the end of this year and then again early next year, according to Apple. I'll link that in the description below if you'd like more details. Apple this week showcased two new videos about Final Cut Pro for Mac and Final Cut 2 for iPad Pro. It actually goes over different features and things that you can do with them, and many of them I actually forgot that you could do. So there's some good information as far as refreshers, different things that you can use to track, maybe track something to a device or maybe something within a frame. Lots of different helpful things that I forgot they could do. So if you haven't seen these, they're only about 3 minutes or so and they're worth a watch if you just want a refresher on that. Apple's head of the App Store, Matt Fisher, is actually leaving Apple. Apple is apparently planning to split the App Store into multiple groups to deal with the regulatory changes in different countries. However, I would not expect much to change with the App Store as it's still headed up by Phil Schiller, who headed it up before. So I wouldn't expect too many changes there, but it looks like it's going to have some sort of different change to go along with different regions where there's different laws throughout. Apple Care Plus has been updated this week to now allow you to add the warranty coverage up to 45 days after your purchase. You'll see the updated notes here. Again, I'll link these in the description, but it says purchase the new coverage within 45 days after your original coverage ends. It's available in specific countries and they list them here, such as Australia, Austria, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, and the United States. So those are things that you can extend in that region. And then there's more information about China mainland. So again, I'll link that in the description. As far as deals this week, well, there's some great deals on things such as the Apple Studio display. It's $200 off, sold directly by Apple. Also, I wanted to mention, do not buy an iPhone 15 right now. iPhone 16 is just a few weeks out, and so prices on the iPhone 15 will probably drop or there'll be promotions on them, or you can get the latest iPhone. So I would recommend not buying that until maybe after the announcement happens. Also, there's discounts on AirPods Pro 2, which we don't expect an update on until sometime next year. However, if you are looking at AirPods 3, I would probably hold off as we're expecting some updates to those probably at the Apple event. So I'll link any other deals as far as updates with Mac and iPad as well in the description if you want to check them out. Now, as far as releases this week, we got quite a few things that were updated. Beat Studio Pro actually received an update this week to bring it to version 2C301, and it actually adds a feature for audio sharing. So if you want to share audio with someone else and you have the Beat Studio Pro, you can then actually use that. So that's something they've updated. They update similar to AirPods, unfortunately, but once they're updated, you're good to go. Also, there's been recent news about macOS Sequoia, so macOS 15 is set to launch in mid-September. Sometimes they delay it to October, but I'm thinking that they're probably wanting to sync up Apple Intelligence with macOS 15.1 and iOS 18.1. So sometime around the release of iOS 18, we'll probably get macOS 15 as well. AirPods Pro 2 got another beta firmware update this week as well, which brings it to version 7A5266A. So we're getting very close to iOS 18. They're getting everything done with the AirPods, and it makes sense that they're updating them just to make sure all of the different features work. Of course, we're waiting for the next updates, and based on what we've had over the past couple of weeks, I would expect Apple to update iOS 18 to Beta 8 or Public Beta 6, probably on Monday or Tuesday. The same day, we could see iOS 18.1 Beta 3, as well as maybe an iOS 17.6.2 this week, maybe to fix an issue I talked about earlier in the week, where typing in specific characters can cause different things to crash. So if you go in, type quote, quote, the colon and then a fourth digit, sometimes it will crash specific versions. So that's something that will actually reboot the App Store and sometimes just cause it to respring altogether, depending on the version you're on or where you enter that. Again, if we put that in here, we'll try again, and you'll see it crashes settings, and then you just have to go back into it. So that will happen every time. This is actually on iOS 18 Public Beta 5, and you'll see here, again, I can cause it to crash over and over. So that's something they need to patch. Thankfully, it's not a security vulnerability. Now, when it comes to the new iPhone 16 Pro colors, we were shown what we sort of expect at this point. Basically, it seems that the upcoming replacement for the titanium blue color will indeed look tan or brown, or maybe be called bronze. It seems it could match the recent Kim Kardashian colors released by Beats. So if we go into the store here, you'll see Beats Studio Pro Kim Special Edition. We have a couple different colors here, and maybe they'll match something along those lines, where they sort of have a bronze band there with sort of a tan or brown look to them. And we'll have to get our hands on one to see what it looks like, because they're typically better in person than what the actual sort of dummy units or models look like. So this could also be called Desert Titanium, according to some of the leaks. Either way, I would expect it to look somewhat like this. They're typically somewhat close, but not exact. Just like this iPhone 16 model I've shown off before, it may look slightly different, but we do expect more vibrant colors this year. Apple Insider reported some new information about the changes we can expect to the iPhone 16 model lineup this year, more specifically with the cameras. The main 48-megapixel f1.6 camera is not expected to change too much, but the big changes come to the ultra-wide. This year, we expect updates on the main 16 to have a better aperture from an f2.4 to an f2.2 to allow for better low-light photos on the regular 16. Again, they'll be placed vertically here, so maybe you can take spatial photo and video, and maybe there'll be some updates to that. The big update will be to the iPhone 16 Pro models as well, where the main sensor will stay the same mostly, but the ultra-wide is going to get an update to 48 megapixels, it seems. Both the Pro and Pro Max variants will also benefit from the 5x tetraprism zoom lens. The latest rumor also says that the iPhone may include a new image format as well for the iPhone 16 called JPEG XL, and also we could have 3K video at 120 frames per second with Dolby Vision on the latest devices. That's something that's a bit unexpected, but definitely seems possible. We're also expected to get a capture button. This would be a capacitive button that's on both the regular models and the Pro models. So you'll see it's sort of in an awkward position, but it's expected to be a capacitive button here. So you could press it just like a camera button, press it halfway to sort of autofocus and lock everything in, and then press it fully to take a photo or video. You'll also be able to slide your finger back and forth, maybe to zoom in or out, or maybe forward and back. We don't know 100% until we get our hands on one and Apple officially announces it, but we know that all the different models seem to have this button. And again, it's capacitive, so it doesn't actually press, but you'll be able to put your finger on it and use it specifically for the camera. My only complaint is it's not in the best position. I have fairly large hands, and just putting my hands around this, I still can't reach it. I would have to hold it like this in order to press the button. So again, it's a little bit of an odd ergonomic situation, but maybe they just couldn't bring it down further. Either way, I expect Jerry Rig Everything to have fun with this, as it's probably going to make it much more flexible. Now, Apple's been working on their own modems for iPhones for some time. Currently, Apple pays Qualcomm and previously bought Intel patents with the intention of having their own modems. Mark Gurman has said this week that Apple is working to make the modem into a wireless package that handles Wi-Fi and Bluetooth as well. This would hopefully improve signal, reliability, and battery life since they'd have control of the chip. They've done a phenomenal job with the overall chipset with the A-series chips, and it looks like they could do the same thing with modems as long as they have the right technology and the patents to back it up. Also, as previously reported, it seems that the iPhone 16 Pro models are being assembled in India for the first time, according to a new leak from Weibo. This is the iPhone 16 Pro box, and you can see it says assembled in India. We've had iPhones assembled there before, just not the Pro models. So this makes sense as Apple continues to sort of diversify the overall supply chain. Now, Apple's been working on foldables for quite some time. They haven't released anything yet, but they're always working on the latest devices. And Mark Gurman and Ming Chi Kuo this week have said not to expect a foldable MacBook until the end of 2027 or 2028 at this point. There were rumors that we could have a foldable iPad or MacBook, which makes more sense, where you could make a large device a little bit smaller. And Ming Chi Kuo has actually gone as far as saying that the mass production has been delayed due to technical challenges. So maybe everything's finalized and they're just trying to sort of make things more reliable or durable. But if you've ever seen a foldable device, there's definitely some concerns there. As with the Samsung devices, there's a crease there. And if you press with your fingernail, you can actually destroy the screen or damage it. So that's something that you have to be a little bit more careful, and hopefully Apple will work out to be a little bit better. But let me know what you think of that in the comments below. Mark Gurman mentioned last week that Apple's moving forward with a tabletop robot similar to a HomePod, but with an arm attached and then an iPad on it. Now this week, United Daily News reports that the supply chain backs up this claim that they're actually working on it. Maybe they're getting things ready to mass produce these, and we could see sort of a home assistant on your tabletop that also functions maybe as a FaceTime camera that follows you around, and maybe some other things. We've seen hints of Home OS in the past. Maybe they have a whole OS dedicated to this, so we'll have to wait and see if that's something we see soon or possibly next year. Another new patent has emerged that shows that Apple continues work on an Apple Ring. This time it mentions that you could use Siri on the Ring and also wear multiple rings with ring-to-ring wireless charging support. I've actually used the Samsung Ring for a little while now. I really like it, and I think it's a great replacement for the Apple Watch if you don't like things on your wrist, or you just want something that's very lightweight that sort of is a health device as well. However, Apple's could have some sort of display maybe, or controls on the outside with touch controls that allow you to maybe control an Apple TV or something else. So I definitely think they'd benefit from this as far as a health device goes, but as far as the other features, I'd have to see what they actually do. But either way, I think Apple should continue work on that. So that's everything this week with the latest updates with the iPhone 16, Apple Ring, iOS 18 coming soon, and much more. I'm looking forward to the release of iOS 18, a really stable, refined version, hopefully. Let me know what you're looking most forward to in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.